The date is July 2nd, 1937, and at one fateful one-way in New Guinea, the great Amelia Earhart would try to fly across the vast Pacific Ocean, and in doing so accomplish something no man believed she could do. This is not a video about Amelia Earhart. Instead, it's a video about what she represented to a young feline who was enamored with her story many decades later, watching a fictionalized black and white movie from her only reel living out of a garage with her other family members. The truth is, as much as this girl wishes it wasn't true, Amelia Earhart had a little oopsie daisies out at sea, and there was no happy ending. But by virtue of directors fictionalizing events to become family friendly because it was too dark in the original, she was offered a different ending, where Amelia Earhart flew into the sun and showed up becoming greater than anyone else thought she was capable of being. And so, this young girl runs with it and refuses to believe anything else because she can only imagine a happy ending no matter what really happened. We'll see this idea later. That girl's name was Princess Carolyn, and she comes from a rich lineage of strong felines, supposedly, and she will go on to make many life mistakes, all of which warrants discussion. But the countless mirages of her own creations are far too exhaustive for a video I'm only hoping is around 20 minutes in length, so instead we compromise. Instead of 100 moments, we could do 3 moments. 3 is fine. 3 instances that define Princess Carolyn as a character and all the flaws that come with that name. Because every time Princess Carolyn fails, it might actually be the best thing that ever happened. Now before we talk about the moment, let's dissect what happens in the episode first, shall we? It's 2007 and the depressed Bojack begs Princess Carolyn to comfort him after the show he ruined turns out to be bad, obviously so, and so she hauls herself over to his house and tries to do exactly that. But Bojack, in classic Bojack fashion, confuses this for intimacy and tries to kiss her, disrespecting any or all boundaries previously set. Princess Carolyn tries to deny his move, but it cascades, and now the morning after, Princess Carolyn is laying in Bojack's bed in hopes that the life-altering choice she made yesterday that will influence her life for decades to come was a good decision. Maybe Bojack will be a good partner, who knows. Back at the present at Bojack's restaurant, Princess Carolyn, knowing she screwed up, tries to avoid the inevitable by trying to divert her attention to other things. She just cost Bojack 2 big film projects that he was interested in. But she tries to reassure him by saying that this might actually be the best thing that ever happened to him. In other words, it doesn't matter how things may seem really bad right now, it will have a happy ending, okay? Believe me. Or her, technically. She's fired. But it devolves into her releasing all of her pent-up anger at him. They fight some more and they start feeling hurt. But when Bojack speaks of Anna's opinion with a level of respect he never afforded to her, they fight, but for real this time, it gets physical. The argument, in all places appropriate, cools down in a freezer, and they both share a moment of self-reflection and understanding. Things heat up back again with a fire, but Princess Carolyn is finally convinced to just walk away for once, or drive away in this instance. And so, she drives away. Or that was what she was supposed to do, because here, this moment right here, is my defining moment number 1. Out of all of the moments in the show, this is the one that made me realize that BoJack Horseman the show was something special. Not the telescope, not Escape from LA. It was this moment. This was what gave me that realization, and I'm going to try to explain why, because this moment is truly excellent. For once in her life, Princess Carolyn is giving herself the agency to not be responsible for the consequences of other people's actions and the suffering that comes of it. She knows she should just drive away. Bojack knows she should just drive away. Hell, even the radio song is telling her she should just drive away. The universe is giving her a sign, and yet, something's irking her. It doesn't feel good. I mean, it's not like she did this of her own volition. She only chose to walk away because Bojack asked her to. Right now, she's still only doing what Bojack wants. It's all she's ever done. In a way, she's still helping Bojack, and she realizes she still wants to continue helping Bojack. She knows it's not right for her, but she just keeps going back. And the next thing you know, you're yet again bailing out this abusive man because it's the only thing in the world that gives you purpose. Because what will she be without work? Maybe if she's lucky, she'll get to be a mother also, but right now, If she leaves Bojack, a man she dedicated decades of a relationship to, will it all be for nothing? She doesn't know, and she's not willing to take a risk. It's too late to change the path she's on, and she might as well continue on with it. Princess Carolyn's face turns to annoyed reconsidering. She sighs, and instead of continuing on with her life, she turns around to the only two things she can understand: work and a toxic relationship. She goes back, makes the risotto for the critic, and reminisces with Bojack. She talks about how she often had to cover for her alcoholic mother, and then about the first time they met. In each story, she's forced to help someone who doesn't even know they're being helped. And for one last time, we watch Princess Carolyn's emotional persuasion unfold, hoping that Bojack will just stick with her for 6 more months, and then he can leave and she'll never ask anything of him again. But well, what do you expect from a man like Bojack?
No.
So we already divulged a bit into this episode at the start of the video, but let's go in depth this time around. PC is watching a favorite movie about Amelia Earhart, where she independently overcomes the odds. It's a story she's so familiar with that she knows it practically word for word. However, that hopeful, nostalgic time, in what is probably one of her final memories of her siblings, has been reduced to a forgotten wasteland. What little they had is now gone, boarded up, and abandoned. Obviously, Bojack has to insert himself into it, which greatly tires Princess Carolyn, because today is meant to be a day about resolving one of her biggest grievances: motherhood, or the lack of in this matter. Because you see, today she's going to be meeting with a pregnant teenager willing to give up her baby for adoption, and she's even from her own hometown of Eden. However, she is bogged by the constant calls for her to put out this fire and that fire, which happens frequently throughout the episode. Speaking of Eden, throughout the episode she reminisces about a time in Eden in the form of flashbacks. It was a lonely time back then, probably the loneliest she's ever been, constantly covering for a drunk mother working for the Wallaces. She could have left with her father to a much better life, but she's not one to give up, and stays by her mother's side, something the son of the family, one Cooper Thomas Roger Wallace Jr., questions her on. She proceeds to advise him that if he wants to be the first string quarterback, he shouldn't actually just work hard for it, but convince the coach he can do it. And it works! So what's on the celebration menu tonight? Procreation. PC's mother, previously all-knowing about how they're doomed and can't change that, jumps on the chance and tells PC this is their ticket out of here. Unfortunately, it's losing tickets, as what's on the menu tonight? Miscarriage. It failed. Oh well, at least she got into UCLA, and further yet, it's not nearly as crazy as the present, where Sadie's boyfriend comes over and tries to win her over, and Sadie's overwhelmed. Back to the present, PC is trying to sell the best version of herself to Sadie. Unfortunately, it's a version built on lies. She tries to sell Sadie's clothes to customers, but she thinks Princess Carolyn's tactics are manipulative. But PC lies and says it's because her clothes are so nice. Then the next day rolls over, and PC meets with Sadie, trying to convince her to turn away strip. And then, that's when my pick for defining moment number 2 comes up.
Did you really like the clothes I made?
Of course I did.
Then why didn't you buy anything for yourself?
Sadie...
You're bullshitting me. This is just another sale for you.
No.
You think I'm stupid, but I've been watching you bullshit everyone on that phone of yours.
Listen, I want to give your baby the best life, the best schools, the best opportunities.
You think because you left here, you're better than me? You think because you're all fancy show business, you can just take whatever you want?
No, you don't understand.
Well, I got something you can't have, and no amount of your managing or producing is going to change that.
I just want to help you. I want to give your baby a better life.
Better than what? Better than a sky full of stars?
Eden is her hometown, but despite being the literal town she grew up in, everything about it is just so foreign, alien to her. She just no longer belongs, but she pretends so hard she does in order to appeal Sadie. But it isn't honest. She has to put on the broken facade of a Princess Carolyn who hasn't gone to do many things in LA. A Xerox of a Xerox. And Sadie calls her out on it. Princess Carolyn is presenting a lie. She's always been presenting a lie to others. In her capitalistic ventures she lies, to Sadie she lies, and to herself she also lies. Sadie realizes one thing that Princess Carolyn can't comprehend. She isn't fit to be a mother. I mean, really think about it. Throughout the episode, she is shown to be endlessly busy, constantly occupied. She has very little time to properly raise up a baby as a single parent. It is obvious from the outset that her workload and lack of any proper support cannot possibly sustain a proper mother-child relationship. And yet, Princess Carolyn persists. She's so persistent that she just fails to see what's right in front of her. After all, what's better than seeing a night full of stars? It's real. Princess Carolyn knows that if she doesn't become a mother, 20 years from now she'll be alone, looking back on a life of work, and there will be nothing good to reminisce upon. But she prefers to imagine the opposite. If she does become a mother, then just maybe, somewhere in the far future, some descendant of hers will look down on her story and interpret her character as a true underdog who prevailed, and that all she did meant something. And finally, at the end of this brief burst of truth, she accepts Sadie's words and moves on with her journey to be a mother. And perhaps seeing herself in Sadie, an impregnated teenager hustling for herself while being influenced by other unsavory people, she leaves her with a few words of advice. To do what she wants to do. To do something Princess Carolyn could have never managed when she was younger. She returns home still searching for adoption. But with Sadie still fresh in her mind, she can't help but think back to the last time she ever truly made a decision for herself alone. When she walked away from a neglectful mother and flew into the sun to become something much more greater than her mother ever thought she was capable of being. Of course, out of all the Princess Carolyn episodes, this one has to be the most important. And the best one too. Princess Carolyn has dealt with failure many times in her life, but she's about to face her biggest one yet, and this time, she might not overcome it. We're immediately thrown into the deep end here as we're thrusted deep into the far future to behold a class presentation by a descendant of Princess Carolyn who looks awfully similar to one of her siblings, taking us all the way back to the past where our episode's plot begins. It's an awful day with seemingly no redeemable qualities. Courtney Portnoy, the tongue-twisting joy, pulls a ploy to destroy PC's employment by her, but the true underdog she is, she immediately calls up one fracking Mr. Peanut Butter for a potential offer. But he's busy right now, cause, he has fracking problems, so oh well. And even in Princess Carolyn's most central and pivotal episode, BoJack somehow, someway forces himself into it, taking time from her own episode to discuss his problems. Never change, BoJack. Never change. Meanwhile, Princess Carolyn's precious necklace is broken and she heads off to fix it, with Ruti retelling its importance as a symbol of Princess Carolyn's grandmother never giving it up despite how poor their conditions are, which as itself actually symbolizes PC's inability to move on despite how bad her conditions were alone with her mom in Eden. But I digress. The only thing that breaks, however, is her trust in Judah as she learns he went behind her back to not merge her company during tough times. Well, what's on the menu tonight? Well, as Cleopatra once said, PC lost so many babies we should call her miscarriage, because more misfortune has struck down on our character. Also, her necklace is fake, her mum lied. And indeed feeling like she has losing numbers in the lottery of life, she breaks down crying. But can't even do that when she has to save face in front of others. She can't even reveal her true feelings when in the presence of loved ones. Don't worry, Ruti here says you'll have a good ending, right? Right? Sometimes when you're drowning, you forget that you can swim, so instead you sink deeper into the depths below. First, an intoxicated PC fires Judah for betraying her, and after a dinner gone bad, she gets into an argument with Ralph where she reveals that she had a miscarriage 5 times. She doesn't know what to do anymore. It's too late to change the path she's on. She might as well continue on with it. And so Ralph, a man who stood up for her against his own family, is broken up with by a non-deriser PC. And at the end of Bad Choice Road, sleeping on an officer's couch while listening to a self-centered BoJack, Instead of accepting the dark truth of her reality, she offers herself a different ending, one baked in both hopes and lies. That maybe, just maybe, that all of this was the best thing that ever happened to her, and it will all work out in the end because Ruthie is detailing a story some far future away. But what she forgets is the morning after, where the consequences of her actions will reel in. But for now, in this solemn night, it doesn't exist, because she already has her happy ending. And of course, the third defining moment of Princess Carolyn's character is this ending right here. Of course it's here. Ever since PC was a child growing out of some Monopoly man's garage, she was surrounded by these mirages of perfect backstories or endings concocted as an exact opposite to the real world. Her mom perpetuated a lie that she comes from a lineage of strong felines that defy the odds, because it was exactly what she wasn't. And whether PC wanted to or not, she adopted that coping mechanism. But instead, she used it for the future in order to escape her past and present. This is why she persists as an underdog for so long, why she keeps on going despite everything that happens to her, because to her, the ends justify the means. It's the same philosophy she uses as an agent and manager, but also a personal philosophy, that it's okay to not give up, because somewhere down the line you'll be glad you didn't. That's why PC drove back to the restaurant. That's why PC pulled out all the stops to sway Sadie. And that's why even in the darkest, most pitiful moment in her life, she's smiling. And of course, to the audience, it is revealed that Ruthie is not real. It is instead only a world that exists inside the imagination of PC, where she truly lives. Ruthie appears here and there throughout the episode, misguiding us and PC. But remember what PC said? She said she imagines Ruthie during her worst of days. Now, Ruthie is only one episode. There are 76 other episodes left unaccounted for. We only get to explore her mindset in this episode. And there have surely been other days in other episodes PC deemed it terrible. If you ever rewatch the show, try and think about it every once in a while. Try to think what PC is thinking, because she just might be thinking about Ruthie. She could have easily been thinking about Ruthie here, or here, you just don't know. And it's only this episode that you know for sure. She's always been here, looking into the thoughts of our underdog. We just didn't know it. It'll take a while before the effects of Ruthie are resolved. She meets up with Ralph again, but that goes wrong as well, never to meet again. She continues to wear a necklace, and she adopts a baby porcupine from none other than Sadie herself. Turns out she hasn't forgotten about PC either. Judah returns to help out with PC's guilty conscience in the workers' strike, and eventually they fall in love. Then, her biggest relationship, BoJack Horseman. Just as she thought he could change, his reputation burns up in a spectacular fashion in front of the whole world, all for nothing. But she didn't need him anymore. She had more things in life now. But of course, those feelings never really fade, do they? And we get one final moment with PC in the finale, and we get to gaze back upon the journey these characters had made. Feeling safe to take BoJack back into her life, only this time on her terms and not his. They dance together on the dance floor and engage in a conversation. BoJack asks her to once again be his agent, but she declines, and he's fine with that. Ever since she drove away from BoJack and didn't turn back, she finally allowed herself to make choices for herself and herself alone. It's a beautiful moment, and as soon as it comes, it's already slipping by. This will most likely not be the last time BoJack and Princess Carolyn see each other. They'll probably go on to meet each other with warm smiles dozens or more times, but they both know that this short, fleeting moment was the full culmination of their entire relationship, and that the moment they stop dancing is when everything becomes epilogue. And yet, they look happily into each other's eyes as they realize that this was the happy ending they both so tirelessly suffered for. It's okay to stop dancing. They'll be okay. We'll be okay. And while they don't explicitly show it, I like to imagine this was what happened afterwards. Their hands slowly but surely loosen up and space apart. They look longingly into each other and share one final bittersweet, awkward moment as they immediately shift to avoiding eye contact. At first, Princess Carolyn thinks it will be hard to let go, but it must have been seeing BoJack, a man she spent so long working on, warmly smiled without pride or vanity as he walked away knowing she no longer owes him anything. The owl underdog truly realized that the morning after this night will be the first time in her life where she no longer has to imagine a different ending for her or anyone else. It's already here.